We've now got a special message, and would you welcome Stuart for his message, A Life in Unity? Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
All right. I love that. Now, the meditation then was very apropos for what I'm about to speak about. And I love that you mentioned gratitude as well. And one of the things I wanted to say straight out the gate here is happy birthday to Reverend Bill yesterday. He has been an incredible friend and mentor to me. And I love you so much, Reverend Bill. I want to tell you that in front of everyone here. Fostering this beautiful unity community which we have here, which I'm so grateful to be part of. So the title of my talk today is A Life of Unity. So by way of introduction, to me, a life of unity means integrating faith, work, and personal life into a cohesive whole, finding purpose in serving spirit, the one power, and therefore others, and fostering harmony within ourselves and our community by letting go of division, embracing love, humility, and spiritual principles, creating joy and authenticity rather than compartmentalization. It's about aligning actions with core beliefs, recognizing interconnectedness, and living out our calling with one mind and purpose, transforming everyday tasks and spiritual opportunities. So there's a fractal aspect to this because there's two things going on there. It's about being authentic and integrating our personalities, basically being the same person in every situation, not being a different version of me with one lot of people, a different version with another lot of people. So it's an integration aspect. So there's a fractal aspect of it. So number one is that we're part of the whole. And number two is that we need to be integrated as people, as personalities. So this talk isn't about telling anyone what to do or how to behave. I'm seeking to share my thoughts, the thoughts I've got in my mind as we head into 2026. So while I was working on this talk, I actually wrote an affirmation, and I said this to myself a few times, and I'll say it a few times during this talk. It goes like this: I am already in unity with spirit, with everyone and everything. My actions affect the whole because I am part of that whole. So what I realized pretty strongly this week is I don't have to seek to be in unity. I don't have to try and join, become unified with spirit, with all of you, because I already am. So I'll read that again. I am already in unity with spirit, with everyone and everything. My actions affect the whole because I am part of that whole. So the power of the month. In the Unity 12 power systems, the spiritual power associated with the month of December is life. This power is often discussed in the context of the birth of Jesus, symbolizing an awakening to the living presence of the Christ within and all around us. So I looked up the revealing word on the meaning of life. That's a big one. It said, life, that expression of being which manifests as animation, activity, and vigor. Life and substance are ideas in divine mind. Life is the acting principle. Substance is the thing acted upon. In the phenomenal world, life is the energy that propels all life action. So, Reverend Bill, I was going to reference the prayer that you often start with, which I really love, which you just changed, but that's fine. I enjoyed the new one. One of the things I love in the prayer you've been saying since I came here is I've got a part of it here. It goes, we continue to honour the human part of our being with sacred safety in action, as well as to elevate our divine nature with our spiritual services, with prayer and with conscious awareness of the one presence and power in whom we live, move, and have our being. And that last part always strikes me really, really hard too. The one presence and power in whom we live, move, and have our being. That makes it very clear to me that I'm part of the whole. When I'd hear you read that, I really like that. So that reminded me of Jesus in Luke 17:21. Jesus tells the Pharisees the kingdom of God isn't a visible future event to point out, like, here it is, there's the kingdom over there. It's something that's present and we're experiencing it now. He says the kingdom of God is in your midst or within you. So I'm going to read that affirmation again. I am already in unity with spirit, with everyone and everything. My actions affect the whole because I am part of that whole. So my affirmation also touches on the fact that we create our own experience. And that's a powerful thing. And we've got choice. We can choose unity or apparent disunity. The interesting thing for me here is that we actually are all unified with each other and with spirit. We can choose to pretend we're not at times, I suppose. And I do that at times, and I'm trying not to. And I'm really reflecting on this at the end of 2025, moments I haven't chosen unity. Even though I'm on this path and I'm trying my best to, I'm not making excuses here, but I realize as I look back at the year, there's times where I could have been more loving, I could have been more patient. And it's really got me thinking about that. Now, another thing I wanted to touch on was the passing of Paul Hasselbeck. Dr. Paul Hasselbeck was a Unity minister, an author, and the Dean of the Spiritual Education and Enrichment faculty. So that's the course I just finished this year, which was fantastic, through Unity School, which I definitely encourage you to participate in. And we read some of Paul Hasselbeck's work, and I'm still reading through some of his work, which is fantastic. Now, I realize the power of the month is life, but I want to talk about his passing too. You'll understand what I'm getting at in a minute. So, Unity's perspective on death. Unity Church teaches that death is a transition, not an end. The soul is eternal, leaving the physical body like an old coat, continuing its spiritual journey. Okay, so there's a few things I want to touch on with that too. Life doesn't finish. We actually don't die. We just transition. So even in that period, we're still part of the whole. It's just a continuing spiritual journey. Now, anyone who's had a near-death experience or experienced the phenomenon of astral projection will already know what I'm talking about. I haven't had a near-death experience, but I've astral projected more than once. I've seen myself laying in the bed while my spirit body, etheric body, has been looking at myself. And in those moments, I realized exactly what I read before, that we do continue. The first thought I had was when I saw myself, and I did this on purpose, so it wasn't a surprise. I thought that body's just like a vehicle I'm driving around. I am actually eternal. It's a beautiful thing, and it's a reassuring thing. So I'm touching on that in terms of life, and also I want to honor the passing of Dr. Paul Hasselbeck. Dr. Paul Hasselbeck, one of his quotes is, "We know there is no separation in spirit." It's a central theme in his teachings on the eternal nature of love and the metaphysical principle of oneness. So he was talking about this. Now, he's only passed this month, only a couple of weeks ago, I think. And this also struck me really hard too, because I'd been studying his work throughout the year and studying these profound teachings, and it really hit me, wow, now he's on his journey, on the next part of this spiritual journey. It actually made me feel quite emotional, and it just added to all the things I was contemplating that occurred in 2025. So I've had a lot going on in 2025, mainly good things, but I'm still learning things about myself, about the fact that I've got a limit. There's only so much I can do, and there's a certain threshold where I can get a bit grouchy, I've realized. And at first I was, because I had this happen a little bit at my work too, where I didn't choose unity, and I wasn't patient with co-workers. And I never feel good about myself after that. Like at the time, I emotionally, nothing really serious. And I'm not being mean, but just afterwards I realized I didn't choose unity then. I didn't choose to be patient. And for a minute, I feel a bit bad. I feel down on myself. But then I try and think, okay, I'm learning lessons here. It's not really a failure exactly. I'm self-aware, maybe not in the moment, but later on I think I'm going to choose differently next time. I'm going to choose unity, kindness, and love. And I've really been contemplating this at the end of this year because there's so many things, and I don't want to talk about them because you already know, Reverend Bill touched on them just before during the meditation. There's so many things that are happening to try and not try, they kind of can divide us and bring us out of unity. And reflexively, as a community, we can choose to be impatient or negative or blame. And one of the things I've really learned about myself this year is I need to just stop and take a moment, you know, because some of these things can trigger me. And I mean, both, I'm talking fractally here. So in my personal life, in Australia, in the world, on the planet, there are things that can occur, and in that moment, I'll feel triggered, and I won't choose unity. I want to, but in that moment, I'll feel upset or triggered or fearful, you name it. I think you probably know what I'm talking about. So for me, whenever Reverend Bill asks me to do these talks, it always brings up things for myself, which I really like. So I started to think about this. So this is as much for me as anyone else who's listening. I'm just going to be a little bit more mature next year, and you know, I'm not a serial offender of this kind of thing, and it's not something, I don't blow up at people and get angry, but I'm just going to be more mindful. I'm going to take a moment and really choose integration and love. So the coming year, 2026. I also pondered this too. So we're creating our own reality by the thoughts we choose to harbor. So then I started to focus on, how do I feel about 2026? Do I feel a positive energy? Do I feel fear? Do I feel negativity? And I tried to tune into that in the broader aspect of the community. And like I mentioned before, Reverend Bill just sort of obliquely mentioned some things that are going on. I started going to some Christmas parties because I'm a performing musician, so I get to go to a lot of parties at Christmas time. And I felt that beautiful Christmas energy of unity. And that profoundly struck me too. Like this happens at this time of the year because we focus on unity and we manifest that. And I can feel it in this room. I'm going to a Christmas party after today's service, and I know I'll feel it there. I'll feel the beautiful, getting together with family. You know, there can be stressful aspects of getting together with family. I'm sure you're all aware. There's some in my family too. But for the most part, it'll be a beautiful experience because I'm going to choose to make it a beautiful experience. I'm not going to turn up to today's thing and say, I've got this issue with my brother. I really need to talk to him about that. I'm going to let that go. I'm just going to focus today on feeling the love, feeling the unity, and feeling the gratitude. And I was very grateful that Reverend Bill mentioned gratitude early, because that's something I really want to do heading into 2026 too, is focus on the gratitude. Focus on the things that I feel grateful for, because by doing that, I've noticed that I can bring a positive energy going forward. I can flick the switch from focusing on the negative to focusing on the positive just by focusing on gratitude. Okay, so I'm going to read that affirmation again. This came to me, I wrote this while I was working on this talk. I am already in unity with spirit, with everyone and everything. My actions affect the whole because I am part of that whole. Now, I came from a mainstream Christian background. I started out Catholic, then Baptist, and there was still that thread of, Stuart, you better be a good boy, otherwise there could be some bad repercussions for you in the afterlife. And probably some of you grew up with that sort of teaching too, which I don't adhere to. What I'm doing is creating my own experience right now, and that also goes into the afterlife too. I can tell, I won't go into detail of that, but I could also already tell from my out-of-body experiences how our thoughts and expectations are manifested very quickly in the astral realm. That's a whole other subject, right? But I think it's important that we focus on manifesting positivity now. So, moving into the next year, I'd just like you, and as I've been doing, to focus on what you want to create, what you want to manifest. It's entirely up to you. Like I said at the start, I'm not here to tell anybody what to do, how they should live. But I guess what I'm talking about is principles here, unity principles. So what we think about is what we create. What we focus on, we get more of. So I really just wanted to share these thoughts with you about heading into this Christmas period. I wish all of you love and blessings. I love my Unity family. I feel supported here. And I wish you the absolute best for 2026. Only the very best. I'm here to support you. I feel support from you in return. So I'm going to go into 2026 with a positive mindset. And listen, one final thing. Keep me accountable. If you see that I'm not doing that, come and say, hey, Stuart, I remember you telling us you were going to bring positivity into 2026. I will appreciate that. I'm not the person that's going to get irritated by that. And I might do that to you too, okay? So don't feel offended if I say, hey. Now, there's some things that have occurred in the church I'm not going to reference now, but I want us to work together in a positive way in 2026. That's my intention, to build what we've got here and just keep supporting each other in love. Thank you so much. So much love to you.
Wow. Thank you, Stuart. That was just what we needed at this particular time. And we look forward to more and more of your talks in 26.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And isn't it strange that of all the days I choose not to use my normal pronoun?
That's right. I was going to mention, yeah, that's okay though.
All right, you can blame the Jung for that. So would you thank Stuart once again? Thank you, Stuart.
Thank you.
Now, we've been keeping it Aussie so far, and this is